Coach?
Not a very pretty basketball game. Disjointed, both teams trying to play different combinations, find out about players for cut downs this week, trying to get some semblance of an offense. Ours was ugly today. We didn't have very many good offensive performances. We had a few. I thought Tina was good offensively, but we turned the ball over. We missed layups. I mean, that's probably the worst shooting game we've had in years since I've been here. And a lot of it is that we have a lot of players trying to get used to each other. I mean, I'm looking out there during the game, and we only have two people in Natasha and Ariel who played minutes in 2019 for us. Kiara was on the team, but with her injury, she didn't play. We obviously are getting Tina involved, but no Maisha, no Elena yet. Erica McCall will start practicing later this week, but we've got a lot of work to do, and it could be ugly for a little bit of time in trying to get used to each other.
Cream?
Hey, Mike. Quickie, switched up the starters today a little bit to go with Kiera and Jillian. Just the thought process behind that?
Just to try a little bit different lineup defensively at the start. And actually, they were pretty good defensively for a long stretch in the first quarter. We just couldn't score. I think at one point it was 17-17, and both teams were playing decent defense. And then they scored the last 4 points of the quarter. But I just I wanted to try something. I also wanted to put Leilani and Teresa more into the roles off the bench that they'll have, once we have everybody, to try those kind of rotations. It was just, trying to put them in spots where they'll normally be when everybody's here. So that was the reason.
And I know it was a rough shooting night and trying to figure out a whole lot of new things, but anybody besides Tina catch your eye, have a good night?
I mean, not a lot of people scored well. I mean, Stella stepped up and made a few shots. But I think consistently Jillian Aline has rebounded the ball for us. I can't say that, offensively there wasn't a lot. Defensively, we did some good things. I mean, Ariel Atkins was good defensively for stretch, but we did a bad job on Rachel Banham, so I'm not giving a lot of kudos to a lot of people on anything today.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jen?
Hey, Coach. Can you tell us a little bit about how Tina looked? I mean, from the box, it looks pretty much like a carbon copy of the other night. But what did she give you guys that maybe we can't see from the box score?
Well, I mean, she got the ball. She made most of her shots actually on the perimeter today. I kind of chewed out my team at a timeout and at halftime. She ran the floor and got post position, and we didn't even throw it to her sometimes. So, but she made shots on the perimeter. I don't know. She'll have to tell you, whether she was happy with what she did or not. I think she's made progress with our team and figuring out how we play. It's hard to judge one player in a game like this when everything seems so disjointed. I was talking to Cheryl Reeve after the game, and even beforehand, we were talking about what training camp is like. And it's just been hard when you don't have some key people here. So Tina's, she's playing with people right now that, like Natasha and Ariel, she'll play a lot of minutes with them, but eventually she'll play a lot of minutes with, Elena and Maisha, and not some of the other people that she's playing with. So I don't know what her comfort level is right now. I think she knows what we expect, and she was good. I've just I'm seeing it as a whole, and she was one of the bright spots.
And then with the shooting, you kind of mentioned this a little bit, but are you concerned that this is going to be a consistent long-term issue this season, the shooting, or do you think
I
that
have
it'll
no
naturally?
idea. I have no idea at this point. We literally missed probably 10 shots inside of 4 feet. Those are, that's not, you don't put those into the bad shooting night. Those go into the awful layup misses game. And I haven't seen that many in a long time. I know that Ariel Atkins will make shots. I know that Natasha will make shots. I know that will happen. So we just need to, when you put Elena and Maisha out there, we'll make shots. But we need a balance to our offense that we just don't have right now.
Thanks.
Christy?
Hey there, Coach. With saying that Erica McCall is on the way probably this week and Maisha is soon to come into the fold, what kind of timetable is that looking like for the two of them as well as Elena Deladon?
Well, Erica McCall is going to start practicing on Wednesday. She will clear the protocols if she has enough negative tests. Maisha, if they won their game today, which, I haven't even looked in France, the earliest she'll play in a game for us is the third or fourth game of the regular season. That would be the earliest because she has to play in the Final Four in France next weekend. And then when she gets here, it's a week of quarantine with negative tests. So we're not going to see her for a while. And Elena, I'm not expecting her for the first 3 to 6 games of the season. It's somewhere in there until she has, a number of live practices with our team. There's not even a thing. I know you guys are going to keep asking me that question every day. I'm not going to give you any different an answer. You might as well stop asking. I know you try to, ask Eric the same question. He's got no better answer than I do. When the doctors and the medical people tell us she's good to go live, then we'll do that. And when she survives live practice and contact, then we'll take the next step. But it's not imminent.
And one quick follow-up just on how practices will look. I know you haven't had the practice players in with you. Is that something that's stabilized for the rest of the season, like no practice players coming in?
Not as of right now. We can't have male practice players unless we had people that were testing every day and part of our protocols. And it's too many people for the league right now to worry about in testing. Everybody's kind of in the same boat. Fortunately, I have, some guys on my staff and Eric and Andrew Wade and Sefu and Daniel that can jump into practice some days and do some things. But that's not going to happen for anybody for a while. So it makes it very difficult. Practice time is precious enough. And then, when you only have 11 or 12 people each day, it's going to be difficult.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Thank you, Coach.
You bet. Thanks.
That you had some rim run opportunities, but didn't get a touch right away. What was your level of comfort or frustration on the offensive end in particular today?
I can't say I was frustrated. I think it's just going to take time. We're all still getting used to playing with one another. They're playing against them in the past years. They're used to always moving the ball around. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying they never had a post presence or anything at all, but he's trying to make that the first look now, going down in the post versus reversing it and all of that. So it's just going to take some time. It wasn't any frustration. It's preseason. That's why you need these games, just to get used to one another.
Absolutely. And you've seen that. And obviously I'm not frustrated by it, but without having, the practice players coming in to work against you all in practice, do you think that will keep you guys further along because you have to be on the court against one another and make those reads? Or what do you see as being good and not so good about not having them there?
Yeah, further along and probably more tired of banging, against one another. But it's definitely going to help. We communicate. Coach T, he's a player coach. He knows how to take care of our bodies. So we're just trusting his process and knowing that there's going to be times we're going to go full court. There's going to be times we're going to stay half court and just buying into what he wants and needs us to do in order for us to be successful, especially this starting group, not having Elena, not having Maisha. So we just have to be in tune with our process and what it takes right now at the moment.
Thank you.
Kareem.
Hey, Tina, how are you?
Hey, I'm well. Thank you.
Quickie, Mike was just talking about, said, it's like you just said, you guys are all still learning and trying to, find your way with new teammates and such. But some of the folks that you're playing with right now aren't necessarily you're going to be spending a whole lot of minutes once you guys get into the middle of the season. So I'm curious, how do you balance that, trying to get used to the team, trying to get used to new teammates, but at the same time knowing you'll have different teammates that you'll be playing with, in the next week or 2 weeks?
Well, I can say, the third quarter, we had a much dominant presence, energy, intensity because of the players that were on the court. And sometimes it's just your experience that takes you over when you're trying to gel together. I can only use the example of having the experience of playing with the national team. We never have a lot of training camps to be together, but everyone knows their role. Everybody checks their ego at the door, and they just do all those little things that it's going to take us to win. And I feel that's what happened in that third quarter when we started to go on a run. We started to outwork them, getting on the boards and just talking out there. So I think it's just more so a balance of who's on the court and extending grace for those who are younger than us, who are on the court right now, just as he's giving others the opportunity to play, because obviously there's spots open for you to make the team. So I think it just depends who's on the floor and just extending grace for those who first year, second years, and so on and so forth.
Cool. And just real quick, specifically about tonight, looks like it was we didn't get to CC, but following the box, looks like it was a rough second quarter there. Just kind of what happened. Only 8 points, it looked like.
Yeah, so like I was saying, extending grace to those that are on the court who don't have as much experience. I was on the court with those young ones, and then like just playing through their mistakes and just them just being able to have that opportunity just to be out there. I think I'm still happy for them, but that's what happened in that second quarter. It was just individuals that were on the court, never played together as well, very inexperienced, but at the same time, I know they're able to learn from it. And I think those same players picked it up in the fourth quarter, carrying off of our intensity and our energy that we had in the third quarter with who Coach T had out on the court.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Jen.
Hey, Tina, I know you are always team first, but want to ask you about your performance individually. Like Kareem said, we didn't get to see it. So just curious, looking at the box score, looks like a very solid game for you. 18 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. But how would you evaluate your game? And, were you getting triple teamed again? Like we saw a triple team on Wednesday. Like what did you see individually?
No, I don't think I think most of the shots that I made were actually more so on the outside. So it went to, Chrissy's first question as far as, identifying me on the post. And most of my shots were on the outside. So I guess I can be thankful that they went in. I missed some easy hook shots that I can make with my eyes closed. That always gets to me. But other than that, just trying to be a presence. I know you wanted to be about me, but just trying to be a presence, just trying to run the floor hard, drawing the defense and allowing the shooters, making the extra pass. That was the reason why I have those assists, just making that extra pass and just focusing on trusting my teammates around me. Just trying to get people better. That's what it's about for me. My game will come. People will always pay attention to me, but just making sure that those who are around me, those who I need to win a championship.
And then I know Coach T has talked about, when you guys have everybody potentially playing a 3 big lineup at times. I know you guys are kind of shorthanded in the post right now, but have you guys tried that much in practice yet? Or, what are your thoughts on potentially being able to do that?
We have not tried. I think if we were to, that would include Jill. I'm not sure of her last name, sorry. But right now it's just, he has not tried a big lineup as yet. But I look forward to it. He is notorious for having big lineups. My first years playing with him in Connecticut Sun, he would play myself, Aja Jones, and Sandrine Gruda at the 3 at times. So I know it's something that he's into. And I do think it could work to our advantage, especially with Elena and Maisha and myself. I think it definitely could work out. And maybe, hopefully, Emma. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. Thank you.
Fingers crossed.
Christy, do you have another question?
I did, just really quickly. Just with how the ball wasn't going in, especially like Kareem said in the second quarter there with the 8 points, but what do you say as a leader to those young players? I know you want to give them the grace and everything like that, but is that something that you are doing mentally, or is that something that you're providing to them vocally?
No, I mean, the real transparent, blunt Tina is like, I want to take their heads off their shoulders. But the Tina who's the professional out there is just telling them to get it back on the defensive end. That's what we can control. You know, get on the boards, rebound, block out, get stops, limit turnovers. All of those things are things I can control. So where we don't have to set up every time we come down on the offensive end. So those are just the little things. Just trying to communicate, trying to stay positive and not getting frustrated because I'm a big competitor. But I know for them to be out there with me meant a lot for them. So just trying to, you know, not put out anything negative towards them.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I think that's it, Tina. Thank you.
All right, mask up. Be safe.
Okay, if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand. Christy?
I'm still unmuted. Okay. Ariel, with the way the ball was just not falling in for you, what was, not you in particular, but the team overall, I believe it was like 23% in that first half because of that second quarter drought. But what was it about the flow of energy on the offensive side today?
For me, it really stemmed from our defense. I think that we were being kind of lackadaisical on the defensive side. And for us, we like to get out and run. We like to push the ball. So for us to not be able to kind of have those easy transition buckets, it made our offense a lot harder. And we had to run a lot more sets than what we would normally like to run. So for me, it stemmed from our defense, to be honest with you.
And in that third quarter, was it the defense that picked up that got you back in that great flow you wanted?
I would like to think so.
Because we didn't get to see it, so it's just all stats for us.
Yeah, so for sure. Yeah, I think our defense picked up. It's kind of one of those things like in basketball, like when you pick up your defensive intensity, it picks up the whole energy of the team. And that's something that we've been trying to work on in practice, and we figured out a way to pick it up. And then second part of that is like our shots aren't falling because we're figuring out what our basketball legs are again, you know? So there's that part too.
Thank you.
Kareem?
Hey, Ariel, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Want to ask, you know, both Tina and Mike talked about it, you know, it's still, I know it's obviously still a progression right now. You guys still trying to learn each other with new players and all that kind of thing. So could you just kind of give me a little bit of your perspective of how that process is going and what you guys are trying to do just to, you know, I don't know if it's quicken it up or solidify it, but, you know, just how are you guys going through the process, trying to get it done as fast as possible?
I think that's one of the things we're going to have to actually have effective communication in the things that we like, specifically right now, like talking about Tina. Like, I want to know what she likes. And, you know, for her to be able to tell me that, I mean, she's a vet. Of course, she knows what she likes, you know, her spots on the floor. But I feel like everybody needs to be able to say that. We're a new team. We've got some new pieces. We've got some people that aren't here yet. So effective communication is going to be huge to help quicken the pace of this, whatever we got going on here.
And, you know, this was it as far as warm-up games. You know, last preseason game, you know, it's going to start counting in less than a week now. What is that focus, or are there, you know, one or two things that you're like, okay, we got to get this done in the next 5-6 days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess if I had to choose one or two things, my mind right now is just defense. I think our offense will come with more flow, with more chemistry. But one thing, you know, in implementing what we talk about in practice, that's one thing. We can't come out into games and not implement what we worked on in practice.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Jen?
Hey, Ariel. Kareem kind of stole my question, but let me say this. You know, looking up and down the roster, you guys have a lot of players who I would say, you know, that's a shooter, like you as well. So like seeing you guys kind of struggle the past 2 games on that end, is that something you think you are worried about, or you think those are going to start falling once we, you know, do what we need to do?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not worried about it. I mean, at the end of the day, they'll fall if they won't. We've got to figure it out. That's not an excuse like, oh, no, our shots aren't falling. Like, who cares, you know? Like, we've got to figure it out. So I hope they do fall. I do believe that they will. That's just kind of how the game goes. Basketball, ebb and flow. But for the time being, get in the gym, work on it, and get down and defend.
And kind of building off of that, what did you see from Kiera, both in her first couple practices since coming back and from today getting the start? How did she look?
Yeah, my most excited thing about Key is that she's healthy. She's moving well, laterally, being able to get up off the floor vertically and jump. I'm glad to see her fully healthy and to have some time under her to where she was able to play professionally in Russia, full season, healthy. So I'm super excited. She's somebody that can be another defensive stopper for us. She's a big guard, big body guard. So I'm excited to play with her.
And last thing for me real quick, Coach T on Wednesday, I think it was saying he was a little worried about the conditioning just because you guys maybe got a little bit tired. How did that look today? Was the conditioning better? Do you think you guys will be where you need to be for Saturday? How did it look?
Yeah, definitely. I think we caught our second win. I personally got a little tired early on. I didn't realize how cold it would be in this gym. So, I'd rather have a hot gym than a cold gym any day. But, it is what it is. We got to figure it out. Make sure that we're taking those reps hard and serious in practice so that we can be prepared, come real game time, I guess.
I guess that cold gym's a Minnesota thing, maybe.
Yeah, it happens. Some people like AC in the gym. I'm not one of those people. I like I guess you can call it old school gym. I just like it hot.
Thank you.
Kareem, did you have a follow-up? Nope,
Nope, I'm good. I'm sorry. I just realized I still had that up. I'm good.
no problem. I think that's it, Ariel. Thank you.